Lesson 12. The importance of the River Thames. The River Thames is one of the most famous rivers in the world, flowing through the heart of London, England. It is approximately 215 miles long, making it the longest river entirely in England. It starts as a small stream in the Cotswolds Hills in Gloucestershire and flows through southern England before emptying into the North Sea. The River Thames has played a significant role in the history of London and England. It has been a vital transportation route for centuries, facilitating trade and commerce. Many historical events and landmarks are associated with the river. It is spanned by over 200 bridges and tunnels, including iconic structures like Tower Bridge, London Bridge, and the Millennium Bridge. These bridges connect different parts of London and are important landmarks. The Thames is a busy waterway with various types of vessels navigating its waters, from large cargo ships to tourist boats and rowing teams. The river sees a diverse range of traffic. The Thames is a tidal river, meaning that the water level rises and falls with the tides. This tidal nature of the river has influenced the development of the city and its infrastructure. To protect London from flooding during high tides and storm surges, the Thames Barrier was constructed in the 1970s. It's a series of movable gates that can be raised to block the river and prevent tidal surges from entering the city. The Thames is home to a variety of wildlife, including fish, birds and mammals. Over 120 species of fish can be found in the river, and it provides an important habitat for many birds such as swans, ducks and herons. In the past, the Thames was heavily polluted due to the industrial waste and untreated sewage being dumped into the river. This led to the river being extremely dirty and smelly, with the water appearing murky and discoloured. In the summer of 1858, the Thames became so polluted that it caused a major public health crisis known as the Great Stink. The smell from the river was so overpowering that it affected the daily lives of Londoners and even disrupted Parliament. Due to the pollution and poor water quality, the Thames was often filled with dead animals, including fish, birds and even larger mammals. Their carcasses would float along the river, creating an unpleasant sight and smell. The outdated sewage system in London would often overflow during heavy rain, leading to raw sewage being discharged directly into the Thames. This further contributed to the pollution and unsanitary conditions of the river. The polluted water of the Thames was a breeding ground for disease-causing bacteria. Outbreaks of waterborne diseases, like cholera, were common, leading to widespread illness and death among those who came into contact with the contaminated water. During the Victorian era, when the river was at its dirtiest, there were people known as mudlarks. These were people who scavenged along the riverbanks for items of value. They would wade through the filthy mud and waste in search of anything that they could sell or use. Over the years, strong efforts have been made to clean up the Thames. The construction of sewage treatment plants and the implementation of stricter environmental regulations have greatly improved the water quality and reduced the pollution levels. Significant progress has been made in recent decades to restore its health and cleanliness. Today, the river is much cleaner and supports a diverse range of wildlife, making it a much more pleasant and enjoyable environment. The impact of the River Thames on Tudor life. The River Thames played a crucial role in Tudor life, particularly in relation to the City of London and its surrounding areas. The Thames served as a major transportation route during the Tudor era. It was the primary means of moving goods and people, facilitating trade and commerce. Ships and barges transported various goods, including food, building materials, and luxury items to and from London. The river allowed for efficient transportation, connecting the city to other parts of England and even international destinations. London was a bustling centre of trade and commerce during the Tudor period, and the Thames was at the heart of this economic activity. The river provided access to the city's busy ports, where merchants and traders conducted business. It was a hub of importing and exporting goods, contributing to the growth and prosperity of London as a trading centre. The Port of London, located along the Thames, was one of the busiest ports in Europe during the Tudor era. It served as a gateway from international trade, with ships arriving from and departing to all different places around the world. The port's customs duties and taxes generated significant money for the Tudor monarchs. The River Thames played a crucial role in the defence and security of London. Its strategic location made it a natural barrier against potential invasions during the Tudor period. Several defensive structures, such as the Tower of London and various forts, were extended along the river to protect the city from external threats. The Thames was a bustling waterway, with boats, barges, and other vessels constantly navigating its waters. The river traffic was essential for the movement of people and goods within the city and its surrounding area. Several bridges were constructed across the Thames during the Tudor period, providing connectivity and facilitating trade and travel. The Tudor monarchs and their nobility often used the Thames as a backdrop for grand processions, pageants and festivities. Royal barges would sail along the river during special occasions such as coronations or royal progresses, showcasing the wealth and power of the Tudor monarchy. The Thames was a vital source of food for Tudor Londoners. Fishing in the river provided a significant portion of the city's food supply, including fish like salmon, eels and freshwater species, as well as shellfish like mussels and oysters. Fishing rights and regulations were established to ensure sustainable fishing practices and maintain the availability of fish. Modern River Thames versus the Tudor River Thames. The River Thames today is significantly different compared with in Tudor times. In Tudor times, the Thames was relatively clean and served as a source of drinking water for the Londoners. However, today the river is heavily polluted due to industrialisation and urbanisation. Efforts have been made to clean up the river, but it still faces challenges in maintaining water quality. In Tudor times, the Thames was a major transportation route, with ships and boats navigating its waters. Today, while it's still used for transportation, it is primarily for leisure purposes, such as river cruises and recreational boating. In Tudor times, there were fewer bridges crossing the river compared with today. The most famous bridge built during the time was London Bridge, which was a stone structure with houses and shops built on it. Today there are numerous bridges spanning the river, including iconic landmarks like Tower Bridge and Millennium Bridge. During the Tudor period, the Thames played a crucial role in trade and commerce, with ships bringing goods to and from London. Today, while trade still occurs on the river, it's not as significant as it once was, with most commercial shipping taking place in larger ports outside of central London. In Tudor times, the river was prone to frequent flooding, causing damage to buildings and infrastructure. Today, extensive flood control measures have been implemented, including the construction of embankments and flood barriers to protect London from flooding. Overall, the River Thames has undergone significant changes over the centuries, reflecting the growth and development of London as a city. While it still retains its historical significance, it now serves different purposes and faces new challenges in maintaining its ecological health. For your Lesson 12 activity, you are going to do a river field trip. For this, you need to go to a river and observe different things, including the different river features. To do this, you could take photographs or make sketches of the features and observe how they look in real life. You could also see how the river changes when there's a different gradient or slopes and depths. For this, you may want to walk along the riverside, but be very careful not to get too close. See the journey of the river and see how changes in the topography of the surrounding area affects the flow and movement of the water. In doing so, you also want to see if you can measure the speed of the river flow. You can do this by using sticks, a stopwatch, markers and a tape measure. Record a set distance between 2 points along the river, for example 200 metres, and place markers at each point. Drop a stick into the river at the first point and record how long it takes to reach the second marker. Do this several times to get an average speed. You can then repeat this at a different point in the river and see where the current is fastest. Another observation you can make on the river is life on the river. To do this, watch and observe different animal and plant life and record what you see.